Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Wave Podcast here at the Culture Wave Media Network. And guys, we got a big episode. We got the mid-season episode of Daredevil Born Again. Season 2, the last episode we had for you guys, encompassed 3 episodes in one. We tried to rush through a lot of our thoughts, but this is a big episode, so this might wind up being close to the runtime of our last podcast covering this, but I'm excited to talk about it. Excited to be in season 2 with you guys. I'm going to be one of your hosts. My name is Darian Scalamoni. I am joined this time by Vinny Albano.
Hello.
We got to talk about this, man. Before we started rolling, Vinny was like, listen, he goes, I don't know what it is. It might be my mood. I might be a hater. Now, he was talking about a different show. Don't need to get into that on here. But I'm curious if his thoughts feel similarly to this episode. This is episode 4. It's titled Gloves Off. There was even a specific moment, which we'll get into in this episode, that I wrote in my notes. Vinny will love this. So I hope I'm right. But broad thoughts, non-spoiler to start us off. How did you feel about the 4th episode of season 2 of Daredevil Born Again?
So I actually did, spoiler for the people at home, I was talking about Invincible off camera. But this episode, I really liked.
Okay,
good. I really enjoyed this episode.
You made me nervous. I'm not going to lie. You made me very nervous coming in. I'm like, dude, I think this episode was really good. So I'm hoping that he feels the same way.
However.
Okay. Yep. No, give it to me. I need to hear it.
However, I checked the IMDb rating, and it is the highest rated
of any Daredevil episode.
Of any Daredevil episode. 9.7. With last I checked, it had roughly around 4.5k reviews, right? So it has a good amount of reviews for 9.7, easily the highest rated episode, possibly even higher than some episodes
from
on
the Netflix
show. I don't think it's that good. I wasn't like blown away to the point of like, oh my god, this was a masterpiece episode where it deserved such a high rating like that. I'm gonna be honest, it's not that mind-blowing. But I did still really enjoy the episode. I still thought it was a really solid and really great episode. Specifically, a couple things. One, Poindexter, holy shit, that guy, like, everything they do with him in this episode is so awesome. And the symbolism in the episode is easily my favorite part. There are 2 moments that play into the plot significantly involving symbols, and I was very captivated by that, and I just adored that from the show.
So I'll be honest, it's a high rating. A lot of when great episodes of TV come out, we're in this current age of like everybody wants to have their voice heard on how much they really love and appreciate good episodes of TV.
Yeah.
If I were to score this episode singularly, I would give it a 9. I think it's very, very strong. I think storytelling wise, it's one of the again, Daredevil, the Netflix version, has had a lot of great. I mean, like again, like you think about the prison fights or like major episodes for that reason because of this major set piece. The episode where we get the fight between Wilson, Benjamin Poindexter, and Matt in season 3 of Daredevil is obviously like a peak episode. But for me, in terms of this version of this show, this is the best storytelling they've ever done, I believe. And this does get us into a place where I feel I can't say it's the same in terms of my love for it, because we talked about like X-Men 97 is a show we adore. And the politics and the classism and the racism and all of the things that go into what make that show special and feel more grounded and human in their storytelling. This episode, I feel like, does the perfect mixture of setting us again in the real world circumstances of what this show is, while also having the best moments of what make it comic booky. Starting with the opening sequence. Benjamin Poindexter is a character that, again, having only seen now moments, I still have to go back and watch season 3 of Daredevil, but I've learned a lot from videos, and I've learned a lot from understanding the context of the characters and things like that. Bullseye is a character now that, even though I haven't even seen season 3, I can understand the way his psychology is. I can understand the way he's being brought to us as a character in this series. And I love the intro of this episode. I think it's so well done. I love the use of New York State of Mind from Billy Joel. It's a great needle drop song for this. I love how it's giving you the human element of Benjamin Poindexter in the apartment that he's living in and taking care of a cat of a neighbor and you know, being this kind of great stand-up guy, to giving you the ultimate flip on its head of this incredibly ultra-violent sequence in a diner, which I also love. Like, there's so much I think of when I think about that. Like, I think about like Reservoir Dogs, and I think about Pulp Fiction, and I think about the homages that they could have used in doing kind of an action scene in a diner. So I love that it feels so comic inspired, because it is insane. Like, he's killing people with forks, he's killing people with toothpicks, the lobster. I mean, like, there's so many call out moments from that scene alone. So you have that as the comic book inspired kind of lunacy.
Yeah.
And then you have the politics, where we finally get like moments like we finally get our second episode with Mr. Charles. And I love that scene, because we're really starting to lay the groundwork for, okay, Marvel and the MCU is finally trying to get us back on a path where we can have significance and stakes within not only like the super powered beings world, but in humanity in this world. So where Mr. Charles is kind of being like, yeah, listen, Wilson, like, you're not even able to kind of handle this as a small fish in a big pond. Like, we're going to have to make something work. And when Buck winds up taking out Mr. Charles's security detail, I think it's setting the stage for something bigger. And I love that what they're able to do personally in this episode. I think they do the perfect balancing act between all of our characters. The only character that does not get a moment in this episode is Margarita Levieva's character, the doctor, the psychologist. But it's not needed. It's not like we need to continue on necessarily with her story, because this is a great kind of tension-setting episode that has a lot of stakes, obviously, by the end of it as well. You know?
Yeah. I agree with you on all fronts. And what they set up with the cliffhanger of this episode is something really exciting for me. I don't know which direction you want to take the conversation.
Wherever you want to take it, I'm going to follow your lead. Let's make it happen.
Okay,
there's a lot to talk about. Like, to be fair, if you're watching this episode, you should know there's a lot in this episode that they pack in the runtime. I'll say this for the fact that this might go on a reel. If you're not watching Daredevil Born Again, and you've been absent maybe from Marvel television, this is a good series to get back in, because there's a lot to like about the way that the production is in terms of the story and TV in general. But that's for you guys. Let's jump into the specifics, the nitty gritty. Where did you want to go first?
Yeah, so I want to talk about Vanessa, but really quick, just to like kind of conclude my thoughts on the Poindexter scene that you brought up. Poindexter is one of my favorite characters that they've adapted. I mean, they took Bullseye from the pages and really made him into something even more fresh and exciting than what was established in the zeitgeist of like who people thought Bullseye was.
Yeah.
Right. So in season 3, he was easily one of the best parts. And here again, he's still one of the best parts. That scene in the diner, like you said, is magnificent. Such a good opening scene. His acting is also great.
Yeah, Wilson Bethel, man. Like, you get and a credit to, I mean, again, I'm sure they've had multiple casting directors over the Hell's Kitchen universe, basically. The casting is so good for all of these shows. I mean, if you look at, which, by the way, we'll get to this at the end of the episode, because we kind of weirdly previewed this last week. Don't know if you saw some set photos for Daredevil season 3, but Finn Jones is back as Iron Fist, which we'll get into that by the end of the episode. But you think about, obviously, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio being the main players in this world, but even Ayelet Zurer, who plays Vanessa, has been great. We love the additions of Michael Gandolfini. Deborah Ann Woll is great as Karen. I mean, Bernthal, and now Wilson Bethel. Like, all the casting decisions within Daredevil specifically and this universe, I feel like they've kind of hit it right on the head. Like, you don't hear a lot of fans complaining about the casting when it comes to this world. You know what I mean? So, yes, Wilson Bethel deserves all the flowers because he plays a sociopath, like, on the same level as what you're trying to dig in with fan favorite characters such as the Punisher or Daredevil. He is a perfect adversary to go against them or align with them in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I loved it, but I do want to talk about Vanessa and the cliffhanger that is Vanessa dead? I'm not gonna lie, I want her to die.
Yeah.
Because I thought Vanessa was a really interesting character in the Netflix series. And even in season 1 of Born Again, she's given a lot of attention.
Yeah.
However, I do think that going into season 2 and even moments of season 1, I've lost interest for her character. I really have. I don't think she's as interesting as she once was in the Netflix series. And I think with Fisk and Vanessa in Born Again being such a duo, completely shaking the foundation to Fisk's character, which is Vanessa, right? Vanessa is his rock that grounds him. And to completely shake that and to kill her would completely disrupt Fisk's entire character in a great way.
Yeah.
It makes me so excited to see what the direction of that character goes in. I've lost interest for her character. I think that it comes a time where we can kill her character off and it can mean something really big. I also love the way they kill her, that's the
end
symbolism
of the episode,
I was talking about, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Sure. So I totally agree with you. I don't know if it's something where, again, it's like I would go as far as to be like, I'm bored of what they're doing with her character, but you write her into a wall, right? Like there's only so much you can do with her because she goes from in the Netflix series being this rock for Wilson in a different kind of way and always being the person to kind of get him to settle to when you get to such a high level of power. I mean, as he is being the mayor of New York and the mayor of Hell's Kitchen in general, it's more about, like you said, how she is the grounding nature to the heightened circumstances to which this world has now become and their status, essentially, because they're a massive status symbol. I think that this episode, she's written perfectly because you also get that moment where her character has a very interesting wrap up. And I agree. I do think they have to kill her off for a number of reasons. But you have the kind of preceding scene, I should say, where she's meeting with the governor of New York, which Mr. Charles even alludes to, like the governor doesn't agree with you, Wilson. This is not good for your look. This is not good for us. You need to maybe start listening to the higher powers that be, that you're not in as much control as you believe to be.
Yeah.
And so you get the stage setting scene of the governor, played by Lily Taylor, meeting with Vanessa, preceding the boxing match, to Wilson being the one that ultimately could be the one that kind of leads her to her demise, even though he's trying to obviously protect her. And we're at a point now that we've now gone, I believe we're a year into his mayorship. We're in it now. We've been in it. We've seen the turn where kind of the whole city believes in what Wilson is trying to do. And before her potential death scene, we're seeing him laying out a man that's almost basically beaten to a pulp to his death.
Yeah.
So having that and then having Vanessa's potential death set him on this complete spiral that will obviously have an impact on everybody else. And that's what I mean. It sets the stage for not only the violence and the brutality that is the Daredevil series and with these characters specifically, but also the political circumstances that this could lead to. The political, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just it's the political resolution. We need to get to a point in which now things are going to hit the fan. We know that there's a lot of powers that be. There's BB, there's Daniel's character, there's the law side of it with Kirsten's character. And so by the end of this season, we're going to have to get to a point where that bubble, that political bubble, is going to have to burst in some way, shape, or form. And so now that it's getting to a personal level with the fact that Vanessa could die, I agree with you, Vinny. I think that it would be a disservice to the series and the writing if she's alive.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it really sets the stage for the back half of the season to kind of seeing that similar thing we saw when Wilson was killing police commissioners with his bare hands. Like, we got to get back to that. Like, we're 4 episodes in and you see it festering. And it's interesting because, again, with the first season, the only thing that Wilson has decided that is important enough to him to work on is his marriage to Vanessa. So now that he might be the cause of her death, it can lead to a lot of unbelievable circumstances for the remainder of the season and some incredible fight scenes that I think we're going to get along the way over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I want to piggyback off of that thought too, to go more into what you mentioned, the violence aspect of this and how that plays into the story. I love this episode on a symbolic way for multiple reasons. I'll start from that scene you mentioned with the boxer. We don't really know anything about this guy, right? But I think that is the exact... They want that, right? Mm-hmm. I think because we don't know about this boxer. He's just an ordinary guy. Yet he is beaten to a point where he could have been paralyzed. He looks like he's seizing up. Like, he's brutally beaten. And he's beaten by the mayor of New York, Mayor Fisk. Now, this is on an entertainment stage. And that is what the show is trying to tell us, is that we're at this point in the world, in the real world, but also in the Daredevil world, that political violence, regular violence, it just all has blended into the same thing, and it's viewed as entertainment. It's people are cheering when and some people are shocked, but some people also are cheering when the mayor of New York is brutally going too far. You know what I mean? Like, it should have been broken up at that point. The fight should have been over at that point. And that shows us of what the show is trying to communicate to us, that this is entertainment to the people. That no matter who it is pulling the gun or throwing hands, it could be the anti-vigilante task force or maybe a foe even greater. The people aren't going to care because they like the personality of Fisk. Mm-hmm. And that's a really dangerous thing when it comes to politics. So I love that. And then I also love the 2 big symbols in this film. One, when they're raiding Kirsten's office, the bronze statue of Lady Justice is thrown to the floor and breaks. Couldn't be more symbolic of what the situation at the hands of what's happening here, right? Literally, Lady Justice, who represents the scale, she's blindfolded, right? Because she does not see with a sense of bias. It's completely broken, right? Love that. And then I love the glass that kills Vanessa, or we assume
potentially kills Vanessa.
Potentially. It is Mayor Fisk's city. It's his city, and he, in an attempt to protect Vanessa, that overreach, the breaking of that still has a shard thrown into Vanessa. So despite his sense of or his attempt of security, protection towards the woman he loves, he still ends up being the person who, creates this aftermath that kills her. And of what was the symbol that did that? It was a glass statue of him and his city. So yeah, love the symbolism here. Yeah, I really, really do.
We're seeing the breaking of this society, come forth at the center of this episode. I mean, we see it, in so many ways. We see even the first mate of the Northern Star being killed by Buck. Again, like I said, the scene that we have with Buck, Wilson, Mr. Charles, and his security, how things are going to start to unfold in that way. We get it in a more tell, don't show in the beginning of the episode when we get our very small interaction between the swordsman and Daredevil saying, you're not a hero anymore. You're a symbol now. This is what
Yeah.
they want you to become, and this is how this is going to be. So good luck. If you need me, I'll be around. Like, because people need to stick together in that way. And even Bullseye gets to a point when we get the fight scene with him and Daredevil later in the episode where he's like, I'm trying to do a good deed. I'm trying to do what I believe will be the thing that will set things right and will balance the scales.
Yeah.
And so, having said all of that, the thing specifically that I wrote in my notes where I said, just what Vinny wanted. Because we talked about this on last week's episode, so return to it if you haven't seen it yet. We talked about the element of religion. And we talked about,
yes.
So as soon as this happens, I'm watching the episode and I'm like, dude, Vinny's got to love this episode. Because we get what we've been waiting for. We also get flashbacks to early on in the episode when he's talking to Karen about the last time he was in the gym. He was with his father, which again goes back to the origins of Daredevil. And I believe this is the first time in this series, Born Again, that we're getting flashbacks from the Netflix series. Yeah. Again, kind of making it significant on what is canon and why it's important to the story of Matt Murdock in general. But we have Matt, basically the sequence of events. He dresses up in the AVTF outfit. He poses as an officer. He goes to the crime scene, the diner where Bullseye is conducting his attacks on the members of the task force. And when he goes in there, he goes from there to the church that we see Poindexter in, I believe, I don't know if it's the beginning of the third episode or the end of the third episode, where we didn't get any reveals on what that was. We just saw that he was looking for someone in particular. We find out he's looking for a nun. I believe that's also alluding to Daredevil's mother, correct?
Yeah.
Like we talked about?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And so we not only get that, and it's not a quick scene, we have Matt really interacting with the priest and trying to understand where is he going to go from here, dealing with the balancing act again of trying to hold justice, but also trying to be like not a killer. And so we go back to that, which we haven't seen in this series yet up until this point. So when we do get that scene and we start to unravel now, okay, let's return to the roots of what make the duality of Daredevil and Matt Murdock so important and so special. Were you getting that feeling of, again, being like, man, they're bringing the things that we need back to the center of the series to kind of build upon this story? Because I think the way this story is being adapted, again, like, you guys can tell me in the comments. You might disagree with me, because I'd love the discourse if you do. I think in terms of story-wise, this is the best story they've adapted through 5 seasons of Daredevil. Now, we're not complete yet. We're not there yet. We have to see where they end up. But through 4 episodes, I'm like, there's not a lot else I think they could do that I'm wanting to see. Like, we're setting the stage perfectly for how we can wrap up and we can make this truly one of the best seasons of TV Marvel's ever done.
Yeah, I partially agree with you.
Yeah, we still have time, so I get it. Yeah.
There was a lot there. So, let's start with the religion aspect.
Yeah.
Yes, that was something when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, let's do this finally. And I think it is a really good scene, the back and forth, and also the having him as dressed up as one of the task force people. That gives a dynamic to the scene that's really interesting, because the priest in training is like has to do his job as a religious man, but also has someone within his church who, in his eyes, he's in the disguise of a task force agent.
Yeah.
So it's like there's multiple layers to that interaction that are so unique and very interesting. And I do love the play that we're bringing back faith into this. I love that. I hope they keep rolling with it, though, because here's my thing. Here's my big flaw with Daredevil Born Again compared to the Netflix series as a whole. And I said this last episode. I've said it when we were covering season 1. I don't think I'm ever going to like it as much as I am the Netflix show. I just don't think I am, because there's one thing. The Born Again misses a lot of intimacy and soul. There are so much intimate moments and soul within the Netflix series, that is not present
in this.
in Born Again, even to the present. And I get it, it's a different series, but even to the presentation and the visual style, they're obviously going for more exaggerated, more comic booky. I'm a cinematographer. I'm gonna get a little cinematography nerdy here, but they're shooting the whole series on wide cinescope aspect ratio, anamorphic lenses, powering up. The every scene is filled with atmospheric haze, and like you got like 3,000 watts of light being pushed through the windows at all times.
Yeah,
it's super big. It's super, like, especially with the anamorphic lenses and everything. It's super just grand and stylistic from a visual perspective, from a writing perspective. But in that, you lose a lot of soul. And the one thing that I was wanted from the series to bring that soul back is the faith aspect, and then also the complexity of what makes the Daredevil character the Daredevil character. Here, and within my long-winded explanation here, the one thing is I love the scene in a vacuum. I think if they don't return back to the faith subplot, though, in a correct way, it makes this scene ultimately worse. Because
it feels like fan servicey. Do you feel?
Because they're not... It needs to have more of a connection to God.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying.
I get it.
Is that there needs to be maybe this priest in training could become a significant character, or maybe his mom comes back into the play. Usually, we had the mom, we had the father in the Netflix series, but there needs to be like this through connection to God and Catholicism as a concept, as a religion that grounds the idea of Daredevil as like a contradiction to the character of Matt Murdock, and I know it's a long-winded explanation.
No, I get it.
But
Here's my question. Well, not a question, I guess, but so again, for viewers that might have watched all 3 seasons of Daredevil, I didn't get around to watching season 3. I still want to. Correct me if I'm wrong. In season 3, it might even be season 2, but I think it's season 3. In season 3, the priest that he's been talking to before the seasons dies.
Yes. Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So, not to say that I don't disagree with you, but that is the person that Matt had always felt most connected to have those kinds of conversations with. So, how do we introduce or reintroduce that religion when he doesn't that was the person he was latched onto when it came to his faith?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's also... Now, all the other things, I completely understand. Like I said, kind of just, again, reiterating how I feel. I think from a writing perspective, it's some of the strongest Daredevil stuff we've ever gotten. And it is grandiose, and it is comic booky, but I think, again, mixing it with the... And I'm a huge fan of, again, adding political and, those real world stakes to our comic book stories. It's why I love the Sokovia Accords, just even as a vehicle for the center of a Marvel movie, is one of my favorite aspects of the MCU in general.
Yeah.
But I can understand, again, what that first series does is it puts you more in the landscape of what is Hell's Kitchen. What is this deep, dark rooted evil that is sweeping the streets in the underground of what it is? Why is it important for Matt to not only tackle it from a law perspective, but also as a vigilante? And again, visually, you are more of a visual person, especially as a cinematographer. So I completely understand that perspective in general. Just reiterating, I think from a story perspective, it might be one of the stronger ones. But in going back to the faith thing, how do you think we get back to that? Because it is hard. You have to introduce a character, or you have to be able to get Matt to be going to the church in general to even have those things. You could do things maybe in flashback with his mom, but I don't know how
we reintroduce his mom.
Yeah.
Because in season 3, it was revealed that his biological mother is a nun.
Yeah.
And there was some stuff that went down. Obviously, nuns are not allowed to do that, but season 3 stuff. But I think we reintroduced that character back into the play.
I think you might have mentioned that
And,
last week. You're like, let's try to get her back in so he has a direct correlation back to the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that would benefit the series a ton. You know, that is my answer to your question.
Yeah. Well, I think they can do it. We still have time. So hopefully they can get there.
Yeah.
Again, I do understand it from an atmospheric perspective and from a visual perspective. It's not as much of a visual menagerie in this series. It feels like Marvel stuff. It feels like a lot of other like bigger Marvel stuff. It's quicker shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I said in the beginning of this episode, they're already filming season 3 and we're halfway through season 2 and they have a lot of big ideas on how they're going to go forward and things like that. Quick other housekeeping things. We talked a little bit about the Bullseye and Daredevil fight. Bullseye came looking for Daredevil's mother specifically. Like I said, he wants to make things right. We get an "I love you" exchanged from Karen and Matt. I don't know if we've gotten that before. I don't remember that. If it did happen,
I feel like it could have happened. Like I feel like it should have happened a long time ago. Even if they weren't actively dating, it's like, yo, you're one of my tightest friends. Like, anywho,
yeah. Very curious on how the White Tiger stuff unfolds. We only get a little bit with I believe Angela is the character's name, where she winds up giving a flash drive or a SD card to a friend who slips it in the pocket of BB, and she makes it very clear to Daniel's character that they're not on a date. So that whole dynamic, I'm still very curious on how that unfolds, because there's still a lot more to be revealed with that as well. Was there anything specifically in the way that the last visually or story wise, the way that the whole boxing scene went out? It was very much what I said. I know you said you hadn't seen Snake Eyes, but like setting the stage for that political assassination attempt and having a big scene take place in the gym. I think it was setting the stage for that, and we get that in the end. How did you feel about the whole boxing match sequence? I did feel like my only gripe with the episode is I feel like in the last 10 minutes we get a lot of cross-cutting going from situation to situation, and it gets a little jumbled. It becomes a lot in the last, like, I would say 10 minutes of the episode, jumping from Buck killing the guy and jumping from the boxing match, jumping to where Matt is, and it becomes a lot. It becomes a little bit of a mess, I think, in the last 10 minutes. But story-wise, again, we have something significant happen. So what are your thoughts on the wrap-up? And then we can quickly talk about Iron Fist for a second.
Oh, yeah, I would love to. So the boxing fight was really... I really don't have much to comment on it. I think it was technically pretty well done. It's shot very much and directed very much like Creed 3. That's what it reminded me the most of. I'm still like not a big fan of Born Again doing these like huge slow-mo sequences where like action upon action upon action is all cut in slow-mo, and the story is actively being told in slow-mo. Again, I think they're trying to go for that, like, almost like panelistic, if that's even a word, but like trying to pull panels like right out of a comic book, right? When you're reading a comic book, you choose the pace that you're reading it at.
Exactly.
So you can like slow down the moment of like, oh, right, oh my God. But they do a lot of these slow-mo sequences that feel almost drawn out, and in a way affect like what I think would be emotionally more effective if it was just like a basic like cut, or if we just had like silence, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no music, just boom, you know what I mean? That could be more emotionally impacting. But so I'm not a huge fan of these sequences, but I still think as a whole it is great. BB and Daniel is a relationship that I am interested in. It's kind of getting a little awkward though at points now. It's like, okay, we've established that they're going on these quote unquote dates, but they're not. Like BB doesn't want to date him, and it's a little weird at this, like, because it's kind of getting a little repetitive. But totally. It is a relationship I am very interested in, because at the crutch, these two people are the leading figures within the information. Within, you have Daniel being the crutch of the information within the office, and then BB the people, right? So I love that.
Yeah. Also, the
yeah.
future of justice in Hell's Kitchen. Like,
Yeah.
it's really what we're leveraging with this relationship between two younger people and one maybe too in over his head and another
Yeah.
one trying to do something that's incredibly dangerous that could lead to, again, like the death of her character, like we kind of talked about a little bit last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there were set photos quickly. Set photos. Mike Coulter's in them. So we're getting Luke Cage.
Oh,
in season 3.
Yes.
And Finn Jones is there. And so we could have a redemption arc. We could have something where they decide to go in a different way. I did not watch Iron Fist. I don't know if you did personally, but knowing that we're going to get the Heroes for Hire most likely in season 3. We know we're getting Jessica Jones by the end of this season. How are you feeling about them reestablishing the Defenders in the MCU now? And again, we have Poindexter, we have Kingpin, we have Punisher, we have Echo. Who knows where they wind up going with Hawkeye and Swordsman and things like that. But they're establishing, again, that kind of grounded level of the MCU. Are you excited by this news? Do you hope that they can redeem them? Where are you staying? Because you saw Defenders. Again, I haven't watched Defenders yet. Still, another thing I have to return to. Maybe we could do a rewatch on the channel or something. But where are you leaning with the Heroes for Hire in season 3?
Yeah, so I'm actually very excited for it. I have no complaints. I am so glad they're bringing back Iron Fist into the MCU. Because Born Again is the connection of like, hey, we can have these characters also be in bigger stories too. So the Defenders are some of my favorite characters as characters. You know what I mean? Love Luke Cage. I love Daredevil. Love Jessica Jones. And I love Iron Fist. I just think the Netflix Iron Fist show was unfortunate because they had such potential. I mean, Iron Fist is one of the coolest characters ever. And they just, they had a shitty writing team that really ruined everything there. But I think I am excited because I think now we have a more competent team that can handle team ups and grander stories here.
Yeah, it was sloppily put together. We were also at a point where, again, the television side of Marvel was separate from the movie side, and now we have that congruence. We have that fluidity of the stories now all being told in the same way. So this is a big episode. This was a big episode. I'm sure. I mean, again, I'm looking at the IMDb comments. I mean, 10s across the board. So yes, a lot of people really love this episode. We're at the mid-season now. We're going to be covering the final next 4 episodes with you guys week to week. Excited to do that with you guys. Let us know in the comments, what were your guys' thoughts on episode 4, Gloves Off, for season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. We'd love to have a conversation with you guys in the comments. Vinny and I check them all the time. We'd love to talk to you guys about it. Give this video a like. Subscribe to us here at the Culture Wave Media Network. As of this episode dropping, we're going to be starting our coverage of the final season of The Boys. Very big. We've been talking about this show and the spinoffs for years now on the network. So a lot to talk about with The Boys. Vinny, as I said, as well as the animation crew, and Sean, Mikey, and Mark are covering Invincible week to week. We got movie reviews on the channel. We got social media. All that stuff is below me in the video. It's also in our YouTube description, so follow us along there if you haven't. And thank you guys for watching this episode. Just signing off, I'm Darian Scalamoni.
And I'm Vinny Albano.
And we'll see you guys next time.
This is The Culture.